Hey, this is Grace. In this video, I want to talk about this topic again in a little bit of a different way of when people try to tell you how you have to think. Okay, and one of them is they feel that you have to think the same way that everybody else does in a group. Okay, they have basically really a herd mentality to it all. When first of all, who said I wanted to join your group? Seriously, I've never been someone to join anything like any kind of like group or anything along that line. And I especially wouldn't when somebody's trying to tell me that you have to behave a certain way. Why would that be? Okay, now I'm not asking to join any group, in case you're wondering. Like I just said, I don't join groups or anything like that. But why would the people that do have to think the same way you do? Nobody has any right to think freely as they feel. It's only going to be one way. If you're part and you must join a group, no, don't must. I mustn't at all. And some people will make assumptions of which group you belong to. Okay, that as if you have to belong to a group to start off with, and it must be this one. Assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Have people forgotten to ask? How to ask a question? Really, seriously, they just want to make assumptions and go from there. You can make a fool out of yourself. I'm not going to use the usual thing that people say about assumptions. No, you're making a fool of yourself. Period. I'll give you somewhat of an example. And say I have a situation in my life, and maybe it's not the same, but it's similar to one I had before. Well, just because it's similar doesn't make it the same, and there's never going to be two situations that are the same. This kind of thing. So I'm going to look at it and make up my own mind, not what people would tell me I should think, not how people think that someone in their group would think about it. I want to be independent enough. I am independent enough to say, this is how I see it. What freedom that gives when you can say, this is how I see this situation, and not have somebody tell you how to see this situation. Freedom. That's freedom. For some people, they have that kind of splitting that, where they think in terms of like right and wrong, yes or no. There's no gray, and sense of gray, black or white, and those aren't usually the colors I'm talking, they're talking about. But it has to be one or the other. There's no middle ground to them. I'm not a person who thinks like that. That actually can be a very big problem for people to think that it has to be that way. And I've mentioned in a video before, for some people it literally means on or off. Like think an air conditioner or a heater, instead of just turning it up or down, whichever way it needs to go, they'll turn it off. And if it's, if they need to turn, if it gets too cold or too hot, they turn it on. But they won't set the temperature gauge, it's going to be on or off. More to that. And just like I was saying, to be able to make up your own mind, I think that is just I'm not talking about thinking up something that is extremely radical or, because I work within the system, but I'm still free to think of my own way on things. Okay? It's not somebody has handed me a script and this is what you say and this is how you see it and this is how you must see it and you must think. No. I have freedom. I have freedom to think the way I want to think. But some people will try to take that from you because they believe you're supposed to think the way they do. Their minds are very closed to that. They're closed off. You must think the way they do, or that's it. It's either on or off, kind of thing. You must be on their side. You must be. No, you must not. What happened to this kind of freedom? Seriously. Where people want to take it from you and say you are just part of a herd and you must think this way. No. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. Okay, now we do have, don't shoot the messenger again. You try to. that we don't have the freedom to say everything that we want to say. And I didn't make that law, so don't say, like I said, don't shoot the messenger. But we don't. But within the laws, within the rules, like if you're on a social media, they have their own set of rules. And you must follow those rules or you can get kicked out, So if somebody's doing something and they're not hurting and harming anybody, they're not doing anything illegal, why can't they say the things that they want to say? Now I'm saying they're not hurting anybody. They're not harming anybody. They're not doing anything illegal. They're playing by the rules. Think about it. Why would it be somebody else's right to say, no, you must think this way. You must say things like I would say. They try to limit you. They do try to limit you. Don't do that. Those block delete. I'm about to block delete somebody because they keep trying to do that. Don't do it. That is somebody who is trying to limit my freedom to say what I can legally say. Okay? To limit me to what they think I should say. Don't do that. Seriously. And this is my channel. I do have my video, my comments approved to have to approve them before anybody else sees them. And if you leave comments like that again, I will delete you. Understood? I think so. Tell you that this sort, that one that thinks that they're going to tell you how you think. Now, I haven't said any side, have I? If it's this side or that side, no, I haven't. But what would you assume? But yeah, this type will say, well, you're limiting me of saying what I want to say. Really? I'm limiting you from telling me how to think. I can just think about that. Just really think about that. It's funny to me. Because I'm telling you, you're not going to tell me how I'm going to think. What I'm going to say. Wow. Amazing. Almost accident later, somebody had pulled into the wrong side of a road. I was turning there. They were coming from the wrong direction. Somebody was honking at them. Yeah, they were on the wrong side because there's a little median between them, and they were on the wrong side, yeah. I said, I didn't say any side. To me, it's not sides. To me, it's really, if anybody tells you, I don't care what side of the fence, or they're not on any side of a fence. Not everybody's on one of those particular sides of the fence. But, yeah, if somebody tells you how you must think, unless it's, like a ball, I mean, really, you know what I'm talking about. There are exceptions to every rule and what kind of exceptions those would be. But just some person to person says you have to think this way. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. You might take offense to that. You might say, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to tell me how to think. No. Anyway, wrapping this up.